Shall we start? Okay. Now let's welcome them again.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are Group 1. I'm Dr.Tsaing. They are Yizhen, Chunyu, and Yihan. And our today's topic is confirming arrangements and dealing with customers. The next 2 pages are our contents. First, I'll be in charge of warming up and the vocabulary. After that, Yihan and I will have a conversation for scenario 1. And after we finish the conversation, Yihan will have a preposition practice and discuss some questions with you. Next, Chunyu will talk about activity 1. As for the following contents, which are from high and low contents culture to our references, Yizhen will be in charge of them, and then have a break time. Finally, each of us will have some comments for this presentation, and we would like to ask all of you to give us some feedbacks to improve ourselves. Then we will choose the best commentator. So let's first look at the warming up. And question number 1, what kind of customer complaints do you think a customer services manager needs to deal with on a daily basis? For example, food might be a common complaint that customer services manager needs to deal with on a daily basis, because sometimes the food which is served by a restaurant or a hotel may be overcooked, or there are even some weird tastes in the dishes. So customer may complain about that. Also, traffic is one of the problems that customer may encounter. Just like a picture on the PowerPoint. If customer take pickup truck to the hotel and they stuck in the traffic jam, they may complain that the route which driver choose may take too much time to get to the hotel. They may also complain that the driver drives too fast or too slowly. Next, noise. Let's say you stay in the night at a hotel, but your neighbors are having a party in their room, which makes so much noise that you are intolerable. And what would you do? If the victim is me, I will call the counter or ask the customer services manager to deal with the problem. So I think the above 3 problems may be the common complaints that customer services manager needs to deal with. And question 2, what do you think of the customer is always right philosophy? In my opinion, I agree with this philosophy because customers can make your business. Without them and their loyalty, you could be shutting down your office in just a few days. The second reason is that customer backlash is real and it can hurt your business. Customer backlash is real and can hurt your business. If you ignore their customer feedback, they can turn against you. And customer backlash needs to take a lot of time and money to fix. Also, it can help you discover your new revenue avenues. Just like how customer complaints and feedbacks can help you alleviate pain points in your customer base. They can also help you identify new opportunities for new product lines and new revenue sources. And after we finish the warming up part, let's move on to the vocabulary. So first one, itinerary. Please repeat after me. It means a detailed plan or route of a journey. For example, confirming the final itinerary with customers. Please repeat after me. Okay. And the second one, confidential. Please repeat after me. Confidential means secret, often in a formal, business, or military situation. For example, indeed, there will be two groups traveling to Hong Kong separately, and we have to keep it confidential. Please repeat after me.
Indeed, there will be two groups traveling to Hong Kong separately, and we have to keep it confidential.
Okay, and number 3, up to the challenge. Please repeat after me.
Up to the challenge.
Up to the challenge means to accept or attempt some particular test, flight, or contest. For example, well, that's the reason why we brought this project to you. We know you are up to the challenge. Please repeat after me.
That's the reason why we call this project to you. We know you are up to the challenge.
Okay, number 4, portion. It means a part or share of something larger. For example, there shouldn't be any problems making the arrangements to Hong Kong. But what worries me is the return portion of the trip. Please repeat after me.
There shouldn't be any problems making the arrangements to Hong Kong, but what worries me is the return portion of the trip.
Okay, number 5, charter. Please repeat after me.
Charter.
And charter means to rent a vehicle, especially an aircraft, for special use and not as part of a regular service. For example, well, how about arranging a charter flight if possible? Please repeat after me. Okay, and the final one, live it up. Please repeat after me. Live it up means to have an exciting and a very enjoyable time with parties, good food and drink. For example, and the price for a charter flight is open to negotiation. Besides, the passengers on board can live it up a little more freely. Please repeat after me.
The price for a charter flight is open to negotiation. Besides, the passengers on board can live it up a little more freely.
Okay, now we have finished our vocabulary part. Now, Yihan and I will have a conversation for scenario 1. And I will be the Eric, Yihan will be the Chloe. And our topic is confirming the final itinerary with customers. And please listen carefully to the conversation, because after that, Yihan will have a preposition practice with you. Chloe, I need to emphasize that this is a special case, so it's essential that I confirm everything with you.
Indeed, there will be two groups traveling to Hong Kong separately, and we have to keep it confidential. This is a bit tough.
Well, that's the reason why we brought this project to you. We know you're up to the challenge. Since our clients have all achieved high sales figures, please arrange a single room in the upper deck for each client on the cruise, and book business class for them on the way back to Kaohsiung, all right?
There shouldn't be any problems making the arrangements to Hong Kong. But what worries me is the return portion of the trip. There might not be a sufficient number of businesses to accommodate all the clients, if they and their family members will be flying back on the same flight.
We don't feel it's necessary to insist on flying back on the same flight, but it should be on the same day. You can book different flights with different airlines.
Well, how about arranging a charter flight, if possible?
That sounds like a good idea.
And the price for a charter flight is open to negotiation. Besides, the passengers on board can live it up a little more freely.
Indeed, it's more relaxing and can create more chances for our clients to socialize with others during the flight. Okay, please put this as our priority choice. And don't forget about the pickup service to and from the hotel and the local transportation. Is everything settled now?
Don't worry, luxury buses are ready for them to use once they arrive at Hong Kong. and there will be one local tour guide as well as one of our project assistants on each bus to take care of the clients during the 3 days.
And now I will give the floor to Yihan. She will have a preposition practice with you.
Hi, I'm Yihan. I'll have preposition practice with you, and if you know the answer, please raise your hand. The first question. And book business class for them. The way back to Kaohsiung, alright? Does anyone know the answer? Mingzhu. Yes, on the way back. And for the second question, we don't feel it's necessary to insist flying back on the same flight, but it should be on the same day. Does anyone know the answer? Zihan. Yes, the answer is insist on flying back. And as for the third question, and the price for a charter flight is open negotiation. Okay, Mingzhu again.
Open to.
Yes, the answer is open to negotiation. Number 4, it's more relaxing and can create more chances for our clients to socialize others during a flight. Does anybody else know the answer? Yinjing. Yes, the answer is socialize with others. And the last question. Luxury buses are ready for them to use once they arrive Hong Kong. Does anyone want to answer this one? Zihan. Yes, the answer is arrive at Hong Kong. And this is the end of preposition practice. Now, let's move on to discussion questions. In this part, I'll discuss 2 questions. The first one is the pros and cons of charter flights and scheduled flights. And the second question is how we respond to clients' complaints. Let's move on to the advantages of charter flights. There are 3 advantages of charter flights. They are personalized service and location flexibility, less hassle. As for personalized service, you don't need to worry about losing your seat due to an unexpected overbooking. You just pick the aircraft to meet your needs and ensure everyone in your group has a seat. And location flexibility. Charter flights will usually land at the most suitable airports for customers. And you don't need to drive to the actual destination. You just land at where you need to be. As for less hassle, charter flights are usually direct. It's really convenient. Now, I'll tell you the disadvantage of charter flights. In my opinion, there is only one disadvantage of charter flights. That is the high price. When compared to a scheduled flight, I think charter flight is more expensive, but it's also more convenient than scheduled flight. Next, I'll move on to scheduled flights. And there are 2 advantages of scheduled flights. They are the low price and frequency. As for the low price, when compared to charter flights, scheduled flights are usually much cheaper than charter flights. And frequency, scheduled flights are much more frequent, and don't depend on the number of people on board, but charter flights are different. They are constantly adjusted depending on the people's needs. Then I'll explain the disadvantages of scheduled flights. There are two advantages of scheduled flights. They are time-consuming and location. As for time-consuming, time is wasted at the airport while waiting to go through security and be in there hours in advance. Second, location. Scheduled flights will often land only at the major airports in cities, so that you have to drive to the actual destination. It's really not convenient for people. Now you know the pros and cons of charter flights and scheduled flights. In the next part, I'll tell you how to respond to the complaints from clients. There are two examples. For the first one, our company forgets to ask for vegetarian meals. Then how should we respond to this kind of complaints? I think it's the best way to offer them meal coupon for compensation. In that way, the clients can feel our sincere attitude. And as for the second example, when hotel room neighbors were too noisy at night so that the clients couldn't sleep well. In this situation, I think our company can upgrade the room to deluxe room next time. And I think it's the best way to offer to the clients, so that they will give our company another chance next time. And this, I believe now you know the pros and cons of charter flights and scheduled flights and how to respond to the complaints from clients. And this is the end of my part. In the next part, we will introduce activity 1 to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chunyu. Today, I'm in charge of activity 1. And in this part, we are going to discuss what can we say and what can we do when we encounter some special cases. For example, the complaints from the clients. And you can turn to page 58. Today, we are going to discuss 4 situations. First one, there were no vegetarian dishes at a dinner party. Pretend that you were a waiter of the restaurant, and there is just a client complains to you like this. And if you are the waiter, what will you explain to his or her? Do anyone wants to answer me? Yixuan.
Sorry, the dishes are almost done. Please wait for a second.
Yes, good. Your answer is similar to mine. If I were the waitress, I would explain. The meals are being prepared, and the reason why it takes so long is because all of the utensils need to be washed before cooking the vegetarian food. And there are 2 actions we can do. First one, we can ask for the chef to cook the meal as soon as possible. And second, we can go to the nearest restaurant to buy some vegetarian food. And second situation, when the client complains about the time allotted for shopping was not sufficient on the local tour. And if you were the staff of the tour agency and a client just complains to you, what will you answer? Do anyone want to answer my question? Chen Jie.
I'm sorry to make you feel that way, but we have other shopping station later on the schedule, so we can spend more time on the next shopping stop.
Okay, thanks for your answer. And your answer is a little bit different from mine. If I were the staff, I would say the main purpose of this tour is to let the clients to experience in local culture and take in the stunning views. And in this tour, we didn't have too many time on shopping. And there are two actions we can do. First, we can suggest the clients to read the itinerary carefully before booking the schedule next time. And second, we can especially recommend them the itinerary that has most time for shopping. And third situation, the hotel room was too cramped and had the odor of smoke. If you are the staff of the hotel, and what would you answer to these clients?
I will say we are sorry to hear that. I will change another room for you.
Okay, thank you. Your answer is the same as mine. I will say we would like to switch you to another room, and it may be a mistake that we didn't notice the odor of the smoke. And I suggest you to mark up to a larger room. And here, mark up means you can pay more money to upgrade it to a more larger room. So what we can do is to arrange the clients another room with no odor and has much larger space. The last one, the project assistant was unhelpful and unfriendly. If you are the staff of this company and you heard a client's just complaints to you, what will you answer to the clients? Chen Jie.
I'm sorry to hear that. I will make sure that our manager hear about this and he'll definitely get punished.
Yes, thank you. Your answer. And I will explain. We are so sorry to hear that. We will strengthen our staff training courses and prevent them from happening again. Also ask the clients, could you tell me which project manager you met? And what we can do, there are two steps. First one, we can go get their project assistant and tell him or her about the client's complaints about. And moreover, we can try to tell her how to improve next time. And second, we should suggest the companies to strengthen the staff training courses regularly so that we can make sure the clients all have better experiences. And this is the end of my part. Next, Yizhen will introduce high and low context culture, and I'll give the floor to Yizhen.
Good afternoon, I'm Chen Yizhen, and today I will introduce high and low context culture. Today our topic is the differences of calling people in high and low context culture. Taiwan will represent high context culture, and America will represent low context culture. Before I start my content, I want to ask you a question. What did you call the person whom you don't know? For example, if you get lost and you want to ask for directions to a woman who is about 50 years old, and what will you call this woman?
阿姨，我可以问路吗？
Yes. In Taiwan, mostly we will.
Another answer we would like to hear.
哦，陈姐
Ma'am. I'll call her ma'am.
man in Taiwan.
哦，台湾是不是？小姐。
小姐 okay. And
Which one do
mostly,
you prefer? Which one do you prefer? We have two answers now. 阿姨 and 小
We
姐.
have two answers.
Which
We
one?
only got
Who
one.
will say 阿姨? Raise your hand.
Hey.
1, 2, 3, 4. Who will say 小姐? Do you prefer 小姐? And who would prefer to be called 阿姨 if you were that woman? Who would prefer to be called 阿姨? Raise your hand. And who would prefer to be called 小姐 in that scenario? Okay, continue.
okay. And in Taiwan, we call in common situation.
有被叫过阿姨的举手。你们有被叫过阿姨？被谁叫？
小朋友，
小朋友 ，in what situation?
阿姨那个是什么？
What's the context? 来问路的吗
亲戚的小孩问说这个游乐设施是什么？问这个场地。
？OK，明白。
阿姨，这可以给我吗？
In what scenario? 谁？
就是 小孩子都是小孩子比较多。
In what context？ 比方说是你工作的场合，有人在
在路上的那种，或是在便利商店啊那种。
路上，还有一个，刚才有提到。
那你是不是都假装没听到？
啊？刚才那边还有一句是 what context？
问路。
问路。
对。
是什么样的人会叫你来？
也是小孩。
小孩。我们有同学专四几岁
？17、
19啦
，18 or 17，在一中街打工，被台中一中高3的学生穿着制服，阿姨我要一盘蛋炒饭。She cried the whole afternoon. That's why I asked them to do this project. 好，你在哪里被叫来？
我工作的时候，小朋友说：“阿姨，我要买笔。”
你会怎么说？
我就好。
有没有心里在 OS 叫姐姐？Continue.
Firstly, low context culture, America will call sir, madam, ma'am. Madam is an American language and ma'am is a British language, depending on their sex. Let's look the right picture. A man is asking for direction to a woman and he called her madam just because she is a female. Madam, could you tell me how to take the MRT? In contrast, Taiwan, mostly we will call aunt, uncle, sister, brother, 叔叔, 阿姨, 姐姐, 哥哥. I think these titles normally appear in relative family. However, in order to express kindness, know each other easily, and have a closer relationship just like we are family, we will call these titles according to sex and age. Let's look the right picture again. There are 3 girls, and one middle girl said, which floor is the sport merchandise? And the other girl said, 谢谢姐姐. I think all of you, when you hear someone call you 姐姐 or 哥哥, how will you feel at that moment? 陈姐。
爽。
Yeah. Okay.
那如果叫你叔叔呢？
习惯了。
习惯。
Okay, and now teacher said, ask you the question, have you ever had an experience that someone or a child call you 阿姨 and uncle and 叔叔? And I think all of you will feel very angry or astonished. And now I will show you a video. It's a Taiwanese man had an interview with some young girls. He will pretend to export the rations, and after that he will say 谢谢阿姨.
我就撑到这来。
左边嘛。对，这边，然后走吗？往哪边？8号线哪边
I believe all of you have the same mood with those young girls in that video. Because everyone wants to look younger and younger, and so do I. And the other question, I want to ask you, what did you call the person who has his or her own job? For example, if you go to see a doctor, and the doctor's name is 陈义珍, and what will you call this doctor?
陈医生。
Yes, 陈医生. And 陈姐, what is your answer?
Same.
Oh, same. 明珠.
陈医师。
陈医师陈医生 yes, that's correct. However, in low context culture, America will call them Mr., who is male. And from Mrs. to Miss, they are female, but they are different. Mrs. who is married, Miss who is either married or unmarried, and Miss who is not married, and add their last name. Except for the two special jobs, professor and doctor, we will emphasize their titles. Just like our teacher, we will call her Dr. Liang. In order to express that everyone is equal. On the other hand, high context culture, Taiwan, we will want to express respect. So we will call the person their last name and add their profession. Just like I mentioned the example, 陈医生, 陈医师.
Sorry to interrupt. For your reference, please update this one. Mrs., M-R-S, and Miss are nouns. People stop using them because they show your marital status. Someone could be prejudiced against. Oh, you're still single? Oh, 处女? Oh, you are married? That means you are old? So people try to avoid this kind of prejudice. Everything, Mrs. and Miss, change into Miss. MS, 一点. So don't call anyone Mrs. Lin, Mrs. Wang. No, Miss. Okay, try to avoid some prejudice. 歧视有很多种，一个是年龄歧视，然后叫人家阿姨，叫人家叔叔，叫人家大哥、大姐、大婶、大叔，那些都是年龄歧视，在英文里面是很严重的事情。还有婚姻歧视，他的 status， 有些人说60岁了还没结婚，老处女嫁不出去吗？这背后都涵盖很多，要小心。好，所以今天这是很重要的一门课，你们是高危险群。In the job market, it's easily for you to misaddress someone because you're the youngest, you're the senior, you're the junior one. You intend to call someone who is senior to you, 阿姨、大哥、叔叔. Stop calling them anything like that. Be professional. 后面还有吗？没有了吗？让老师补充。所以现在在职场上 ，please write this down. This is very important life lesson. 你没有被升迁，就是因为你叫了人家一句叔叔，叫人家什么大姐。Zero address form. 你们去逛山西的卖场，他们是 explicitly 就直接叫他们的职员。任何人进来看电脑、看手机，你不要叫他什么叔叔、阿姨、大哥、大姐。哎，大哥，看看我们的车款。大哥，要不要洗车？他才19岁，你叫他大哥。然后你不要乱让座。Zero address form. 哎，请问需要帮什么忙吗？请问要买什么？你从头到尾都不要叫人家。你们过去有学的，在我们的 high context culture 不是要有礼貌吗？你们经过警卫室有没有说叔叔好 ？Stop calling them 叔叔。You grow up now. Don't call them 叔叔 just to be polite. But people won't perceive them as politeness. They will consider you rude. Try to apply zero, Z-E-R-O, address. 老师有请他们讲 address form， 但他们用了另外一个字 how to call someone， 用了白话文。称呼人家在英文里面是有个 term 的，叫什么 ？address form 在这里不是地址，是称呼语。台湾 high context culture 我通常都用 kingship. Try to type the word kingship. Is that a new word? Kingship. K-I-N-S-H-I-P. 这是生字吗？是生字的请举手。第一次看到这个字的 kingship， 我们都用 kingship， 就是所有有亲戚的。这个人根本就不是你的阿姨，根本跟你八竿子打不到边，你也会叫他阿姨、叔叔、伯伯、伯伯，警察还要叫警察伯伯。Kingship address form， 所以这个字记起来，不要乱跟人家装熟。你们是最年轻的，你们进入职场之后一定是最年轻的。那你们会觉得哦，我应该要尊重我的长官，我一定要叫他阿姨，叫他哥哥，叫他叔叔，千万不要。特别是进外商公司，有一个人从国外回来，现在很多人从国外回来，更要注意。他如果跟你说我叫 Julie， 哦，谢谢 Julie 姐，还要加个姐吗？他已经说我叫 Julie 了 ，How do you address her？ Julie, just Julie, nothing more and nothing less。他如果说我叫 Jack， 哎 ，Jack 叔叔，要这样子吗？就是 Jack。所以你们从现在开始心态要调整。进入职场第一步，不要顾人怨，不要不小心就踩到线，称呼人家不要一开口就惹祸。Zero address form or address someone with their title plus their last name。刚才他们也讲 Doctor， 为什么你们要写 Dr. Liang？ 在台湾学历泡沫化，在美国高学历，尤其是念到博士，是一个至高无上的荣耀，就像你中了状元一样。Then PhD will be part of their name forever。他只要印名片有博士的，一定要印出来。一样是教授，很多人是没有博士的，他就是靠升等升上来的。那没有博士的人，他的名片上面是不能印 PhD。OK， 所以 PhD 如果人家有 PhD， 你绝对不可以叫他 Mr. Lin， 一定是 Dr. Lin，always。这是 high contest 跟 low contest culture 很大的不同。我们不觉得念博士有什么大不了的，现在少子化，爱怎么念根本就随便念，都可以念到博士。在美国可不一样 ，education is very expensive，and it will become part of their name. So don't use any kingship title to address someone. 不知道最保险就是 zero address form， 要不然你就直接问他 How would you like me to address you？ 他如果说 Call me Judy， 就不要再 Judy 姐、Judy 姨、Jack 叔、Jack 哥，什么大人哥 ，OK？Is that clear？
Thank you, Dr. Liang, for giving us the further information. And I will continue my part. After I introduce the differences of calling people in high and low context culture, I think you can understand what you should call in different cultures. Now is our conclusion. Firstly, we learned that the advantage and disadvantage of charter flight and scheduled flight. Also, we have understood that how to deal with the complaints from the clients. And finally, we learned that the differences of calling people in different cultures. That is our inside story. Because of the winter vacation, we use Liang to assign our individual job and also arrange our rehearsal. Also arrange the time when we have our rehearsal. And on February 19th, from 10 o'clock to 12 a.m., the place is at class 3514. We had our rehearsal and fixed the problem right away. And this is our 1-minute video. Now is our job assignment. I was in charge of high and low context culture, conclusion, references, and job assignment. Yihan is in charge of scenario 1, preposition practice, discussion questions, and the last one, inside story. And Chunyu is in charge of activity 1, work allocation, compiling PPT slides, and buying candies. The last one, Junqing, is in charge of warming up vocabulary and scenario 1 with Yihan, and also making inside story video. Next is our references. In warming up, we look for some information and pictures online. And vocabulary, we look up the Cambridge Dictionary to look up some English words. Except for the third one, we use the other dictionary to look up. And in discussion questions, we look for some information from the internet. And pictures in discussion questions and activity 1. We also look for some pictures. In high and low context culture, video is from YouTube and other information we look for online. And now it's our 15 break time. Let's take a break.